Welcome to Sumita Roy's English classroom. This is Professor Sumita Roy, and you have been seeing various videos on grammar, conversation, listening, pronunciation, and some general queries on this channel. You will learn vocabulary, spoken English, written English, all these forms also on this channel. I request all of you who are interested in learning good English to subscribe and like the videos, subscribe to the channel, like the videos, and share this idea of learning good English with all of your friends and family who are interested in English, so that my hard work reaches all of you. I would like every one of you who's coming to this channel to subscribe it immediately so that you don't have to ask me, like many of you are asking me, please give us the link to the next video. If you subscribe, you get the link automatically. Now we have the third video on pronouns. I told you that on pronouns, we shall have 3 videos. The first 2 videos, I'm sure all of you have seen, and you have also learnt whatever was explained in those videos. Exercises were there, examples were there, enough for you to practice. Now we have the last of the videos where we are talking about a very important pronoun, very often mistaken, and that is the relative pronoun. Major part of this video we shall devote to relative pronoun with exercises. The other 2 are very small categories: reciprocal pronoun, which has only 2, and distributive pronoun, which is similar to the indefinite pronoun we learnt in the second video. Let us start with the relative pronoun. First, the definition of what is a relative pronoun. A relative pronoun shows a relationship between 2 sentences or 2 clauses. Somebody is asked, what is a clause? I will tell you just now, although I will make a separate video for phrases and clauses. The relative pronoun joins 2 sentences or 2 clauses together, showing the relationship between them. A relationship which is a relationship of a noun or a pronoun. Either a noun or a pronoun which is common to 2 sentences can be joined using a relative pronoun. Relationship, that is what the word relative is. Very often we say to uncle, auntie, we say, she is my relative, he is my relative. So here is the relative, the pronoun is the relative. It is linking 2 sentences where either the noun or the pronoun occurs in the place of the subject or the object. In either of the 2 sentences, one noun or pronoun is common to both. That is where we use a relative pronoun. As I told you, always we don't use pronouns to replace something only. We have many other functions. So it might replace a noun or pronoun, but it also shows a relationship. And there has to be 2 clauses or 2 sentences. A clause is a group of words which has a verb. I will tell you what is a finite verb. A finite verb. Next, we will do verbs. After doing some spoken English, then we will go on to verbs. So a finite verb is a verb which acts as a verb. A non-finite verb is a verb which does not act like a verb. It does some other function. So a verb being there in a group of words, but which does not make complete sense, is a clause. A sentence is different from a clause because it makes complete sense. Sentence also has a verb and it makes complete sense. clause does not have complete sense, but it also has a verb. And a phrase has incomplete sense like the clause, but it has no finite verb. These things we will do by and by. Don't get impatient because grammar has to be learned step by step. I cannot anticipate something which will come later. So I have defined for you what is relative pronoun. Now look at these list of pronouns which I've given you. Who is used for a person, which is the subject of a sentence. So when a noun or pronoun is a subject of a sentence, which has to be removed and a relationship established, you use who. Human nouns, subject, we use who. Now, who can be used for both singular and plural, no difference. Whom is used where the noun or pronoun to whom the relationship is shown is object of the sentence. Again, no singular plural difference, but it is the object of the sentence. Then whose is the possessive form, but unlike who and whom, whose can be used for human and non-human nouns. The noun need not be only a human noun. It can be a neuter also. There too, whose shows you the possessive form. Which and that are used. Very often they are used interchangeably, which is of course preferable. That is also used, nothing wrong with it. These are used for the subject and object of non-human nouns. Human nouns, who and whom, subject, object, different pronouns. Here, not different pronouns, but the same pronoun which or the same pronoun that, both for subject, object, singular, plural. But when it comes to possessive, whose is used for human beings and non-human nouns also. Now we have sentences with all of them. You can see the examples. The man, subject of the sentence, who traveled in the bus is very old. Now the sentence is, the man is very old, one sentence. Now you have another sentence, he traveled in the bus. Now he and man refers to the same person. You can make a relationship because the noun is repeated. And therefore, since you are replacing the subject noun, you say who. The man who traveled in the bus is very old. I hope you are able to follow. I met some people who are looking for a house. Now here also you have two sentences. I met some people. Sentence number one. They are looking for a house. Although in the first sentence, the people is the object of the sentence, in the second sentence to which you are establishing the relationship, it is the subject. They are looking for a house. They is the subject. You remove the subject and you put the subject pronoun, and that is who. Now a relationship is established. You have a single sentence instead of two sentences. They are joined together using the relative pronoun. So you can see the relative pronoun is also a linking word. It is a word for joining. Many types of words are there in English used for joining. Relative pronoun is one of them. Since we are doing pronouns, I'm talking to you about this. Then you have next one. The man to whom he gave the job belongs to his family. Now the sentence is, the man belongs to his family. Here man is subject, but he gave the job to him, to this man. He gave the job to the man. So in the sentence which you have to connect, the man is the object. It is not the subject. Although in the first sentence it is the subject, we have to use the object pronoun to whom he gave the job. By replacing him, we are putting whom. We are also changing the order of the sentence, as you can see. because the relative pronoun should be immediately next to the noun it refers to or pronoun it refers to. If you put the relative pronoun far away from the noun or pronoun to which it refers, then that is a wrong sentence. This is where many mistakes are made in the use of pronouns. So we have to understand that such a use is not allowed. So you have to use to whom. Here comes the guest. Now already it is object of the sentence, whom everyone was expecting. Everyone was expecting him. So you are replacing him with whom, and you are changing the order of the sentence because after guest, whom has to come. You cannot say, here comes the guest, everyone was expecting whom. This is a mistake many people make. You can't do that because whom, if you remove far away from its noun, then it does not relate, it does not show relationship. I can give you an example. If you meet your relatives every day, you have a good relationship. If you don't meet them for 10 or 20 years, they are far away, you tend to lose that relationship. The relative pronoun is like that. Put them after two words, it doesn't make sense, it is wrong. Put them immediately after the noun or pronoun it relates to, only then it makes sense. In the earlier sentence, to is used, which is only a preposition. We are not worried about it. I'm only worried about an entire sentence, a clause, or a longer group of words. Now we have whose. The cook whose wife had given him the news told everyone about it. Now the cook told everyone the news. His wife gave him the news. So his wife, you are replacing his and putting whose, which is the possessive form. But whose you can't put at the end of the sentence. You have to put immediately after the cook. So the sentence is the cook whose wife. That is how we write. The guard stopped the person whose behavior was suspicious. Now the guard stopped the person. The person is object, but his behavior was suspicious. His is not object or subject, his is possessive. So we are using the possessive pronoun, the relative pronoun for the possessive case, and that is whose. The guard stopped the person whose behavior was suspicious. I hope this is clear. If you have problems understanding it as I explain, because I might be going very fast, please watch this explanation part again and again. If you see it 2, 3 times, it will become clearer. If you see it once, you might not. Some of you might get it very clearly. Some others might not. For every lesson, that is what I would recommend. Now, I told you whose is not only used for people, but it's also used for things. So here we have a sentence. He heard a word whose meaning he did not know. Now, he heard a word, its meaning. He did not know its meaning. Now, its is possessive. So we have to put its next to the word. We change the sentence pattern and we say, he heard a word whose meaning he did not know. This is how it is written. Now we have the object, now, subject-object usage of neuter nouns, non-human nouns. He burnt the shirt which he was ironing. Now here in the sentence, he was ironing it, object, shirt, object. So we are using no difference between subject and object. We use which. We can also say he burnt the shirt that he was ironing. No difference. Tell us some topics that interest everyone. Now tell us some topics. These topics interest everyone. Now in the first sentence, it is object. In the second sentence, it is subject. We are replacing the subject, but we are putting that or which. tell us some topics which interest everyone or that interest everyone. The idea that you suggested is good. So the idea is good, you suggested it. The idea is subject in the first sentence and the idea is object in the second sentence. But for non-human nouns, there is no difference, so you are safe. You don't have to worry. You can say, the idea that you suggested is good, or the idea which you suggested is good. The temple which is nearby is visited by many devotees. Now, is visited is a passive verb. We will learn active and passive voice also after doing tenses and all those verb lessons. Verbs will be many videos. Just wait for them, maybe after a couple of weeks. The temple is nearby. It is visited by many devotees. The temple is subject. It is also subject. We replace with which, we put it next to the temple. The temple which is nearby is visited by many devotees. So these are the examples of all the relative pronouns. The list of relative pronouns is there in the left-hand column and the examples are there in the right-hand column. Read the examples many times. If you have difficulty in understanding, listen to the explanation again. Since relative pronouns are very important, I'm giving you a few exercises on relative pronouns. The other two varieties of pronouns, which we are discussing in this video, are not so common, not so important, in the sense that we don't usually make mistakes in the use of them, and they are used not so often as relative pronouns, where a lot of mistakes are also made. So you have to underline the relative pronoun and identify what it joins. What it joins implies the two clauses or the two sentences, as I showed you in the earlier slide when I was discussing each of the sentences as examples. I showed you how the two sentences are there and how the relative pronoun makes them into a single sentence. So there are two things in this exercise. One is to underline the relative pronoun, and the second is to identify what it joins. This is the place which I'm proud of. That is the first sentence. Wheat, which is our staple food, grows here. Some workers whom we were meeting for the first time came to join the factory. The gifts which she brought made everyone happy. I'm looking for a person who can mend the fence. Students who learn English can communicate with people all over the world. Cordelia, whom you know, is the next president of our society. This paper gives some extra information that is useful. Take care of the machine whose parts are coming off. So here you have some sentences. Every one of them is actually two units joined together because they have a noun or a pronoun in common. First, identify the pronoun, which is the relative pronoun, and second, you do the two parts into which the sentence existed and how these sentences are put together. I will show you the answers in two different slides. Please do the exercise first and only then go to the slides which show you the answers. I hope all of you are doing this honestly, because there is no way I'm going to come to your house and check up. But you are your own teacher and you are your own student. Therefore, you have to be very honest in evaluation. Here are the answers. This is the place which I'm proud of. Which place? Same pronoun is relating, so which is the relative pronoun. Wheat, which is our staple food, grows here. Again, wheat, which, that is the relationship. Which is the relative pronoun. Some workers whom we were meeting for the first time came to join the factory. Some workers is, related to whom. So whom is the relative pronoun. The gifts which she brought made everyone happy. The gifts and which is related to gifts. Therefore, which is the relative pronoun. I'm looking for a person who can mend the fence. Person and who. In the next part, who is the subject. Therefore, we are using who. We are not using whom, because although person is the object in the first sentence, in the second sentence it is the subject. Students who learn English can communicate with people all over the world. Now here I would like to suggest something. I'm giving you hundreds of sentences as examples. Take each sentence and expand it into a paragraph of 5 or 10 sentences. Then you speak that out, you write it out. For instance, students who learn English, we had one paragraph on importance of English. You remember? So that can fit in here. If you do that, then each video is a video for listening, speaking, reading, writing. Each video is for pronunciation, grammar, vocabulary, spelling, and punctuation, because you are seeing what is written on the slide. Spelling and punctuation are there. If you just listen casually, it is not going to benefit you. Each video is a composite lesson in learning English. So you can see students who learn English. So students relates to the relative pronoun who refers to students. Therefore, it is a relative pronoun. Cordelia, whom you know, is the next president of our society. Cordelia is the name of the lady, and whom refers to Cordelia. Although it is whom is the object, in the second sentence it must be the object. Therefore, we are using pronoun whom. This paper gives some extra information that is useful. That and information. Information has the relative pronoun that. Therefore, that is the relative pronoun. Take care of the machine whose parts are coming off. Whose here is the possessive relative pronoun for the machine. Whose refers to machine. Therefore, we have the relative pronoun as whose. Now, the same sentences, we have the second part of the exercise. That is, what were the original forms which were joined using the relative pronoun? So let us see them. I hope you have worked them out before you're checking the answers, because unless you do that, you don't get benefited. Suppose you have continuously seen the question and the answer. Don't worry, nothing to feel worried about. You can look at it a second time, go only to the exercise, do it, and then check the answers. You might not remember the answers. Even if you remember, you will be working out without looking at the answers. That will be beneficial in itself. So please don't worry. Continue to look through the answers and check. The first sentence is broken up into two. This is the place plus I'm proud of it. So I'm proud of it. It here represents the place. So the place is repeated. Again, the place is repeated as it. So we remove the repetition. Only the noun or pronoun which is repeated can be removed. But we cannot say, this is the place I'm proud of which, because which is far away from place and the sentence is wrong. So we have to put which next to it and say, this is the place which I'm proud of. It is cut off, which is added, but not in the same place. It is added next to which. Wheat grows here, plus it is our staple food. Now we change the order. The order of the sentences changes. The second sentence is inserted into the first sentence because it, which is the subject of the second sentence refers to wheat. Now, we have to put which next to it. So there are two sentences possible here. You cut it. It is not necessary. It's repetitive. So we cut it off. Then we say wheat, which grows here, is our staple food. This is not the sentence which I gave you. I gave you the sentence, wheat, which is our staple food, grows here. That means you're inserting the second sentence in the middle of the first sentence. But this also is not wrong. Wheat, which grows here, is our staple food. So you have two answers for this. If somebody asks you to join a sentence, then you can give two answers of this joining of two sentences. Both of them are relevant, both of them are correct, and both of them make sense. We have types of clauses here, which I'm not going to explain today, but in much, much later video sometime. Some workers came to join the factory. We were meeting them for the first time. Some workers whom we were meeting. Some workers is them. In the second sentence, it is them. So we cannot do what we did for the second one here. We cannot say some workers whom came to join the factory. That will be a wrong sentence. So this does not have two answers. We say that some workers whom we were meeting, them we cut off for the first time, came to join the factory. There is only one possibility of joining here. It is not two possibilities like the second one. I hope the explanation is clear. I hope you are following this, because very often when we don't know these rules, we make mistakes in English. So those of you who want to speak correct English, I get thousands of mails saying, I can speak a little, but I make mistakes. Many of you, as I told you earlier also, who might write comments are making some grammatical errors. The reason is because you study grammar like a parrot. It doesn't help. You have to study grammar like an intelligent human being, not artificial intelligence, but natural intelligence. Artificial intelligence can tell you anything about grammar which you ask. It can give you all the correct answers, but it cannot do the creative thinking which you can do. So please understand what I'm saying. The gifts made everyone happy. One sentence. She bought them. So here, the gifts and them is the common. She is not there anywhere. Everyone is not there anywhere. Only gifts and them are there. The gifts which she bought, because which we used, made everyone happy. Now, it is very difficult for you to say the gifts which made everyone happy, she bought. Then the sentence should change, were bought by her. Good communication means you can say the same sentence in 3-4 different ways. Now, it is possible to say that the gifts which made everyone happy were bought by her, because gift remains the subject in the other sentence also, and the verb becomes passive, were bought. We will do passive verb, active verb, a lot of this exercises. I'm looking for a person, that is one. He can mend the fence. Here it's very easy, no change, nothing. You cut he and add who, the sentence is complete. No other possibility is there. Students learn English, they can communicate with people all over the world. So you can say students who learn English, who you have to put here because they refers to students. Remove they from the second sentence. Who you can't put there. Students learn English who can communicate with people all over the world is a wrong sentence, because the relative pronoun is far away from the noun. It doesn't make sense at all. So we have to say students who learn English can communicate with people all over the world. Then you have Cordelia is the next president of our society. You know her. These are two sentences. Cordelia and her are, uh, repeated. No other form. You is not there. Next president. The president refers to Cordelia only. Society is not there. So the repetition is Cordelia and her. You have to replace by saying whom, because her is the object where you're removing is the object. So you say Cordelia, whom you know. Put the second sentence first. Then you have the paper gives some extra information. That information is useful. Two times information comes, therefore you remove that and you say which is useful or that is useful. Take care of the machine, its parts are coming off. Its is possessive, so we say whose parts are coming off. In the earlier sentence, we had the sentences already joined and you had to identify the relative pronoun. Here, the sentences are not joined. You have to join them using suitable relative pronouns. Which pronoun fits where, you have to decide. The sentences are, the cook saw the strangers. One sentence. They appeared to be hungry. Strangers and they are repeated. Nataraj got a letter. It was from his village. Letter and it are the same. Kannan was an illiterate man. His ignorance made everyone laugh at him. So we have man and his ignorance, his possessive. The scientist lives in the red house. He works in the forensic laboratory. So scientist and he, though that is repeated. The supervisor was welcomed. He spoke for the welfare of his subordinates. So supervisor and he are repeated. Dr. Mohit was reading the paper. He saw an item of news that worried him. Dr. Mohit and he are the same. So in all these places, you have to use a suitable pronoun, remove some things, rearrange the sentence, do whatever is required in order to get the correct form where you have a single sentence joined with the help of a relative pronoun. These two sentences become a single sentence. They become very compact, and the use of the glue which you're using for joining is the relative pronoun. That is the exercise here. I hope you have worked out the answers and then you have come here. The cook saw the strangers who appeared to be hungry. No change in the structure, only they you cut off, join the sentence using who, because strangers and they were side by side. You put who there, sentence is fine. Natraj got a letter which was from his village. Again, very simple. Letter and it were side by side. You remove it and you say which was from his village. Kannan was an illiterate man whose ignorance made everyone laugh at him. So we have man and his side by side. So no change in the structure of the sentence. You just remove his and put whose. The scientist lives in the red house. He works in the forensic laboratory. Now you're changing the order of the sentence by saying the scientist who, because scientist and he are both subjects of the sentence, you are replacing the subject he by the relative pronoun who. You say the scientist who works in the forensic laboratory lives in the red house. So we changing this would have problems of meaning. You work in the place and you take a house which is close by. That is the logical sequence. So we are following that logical sequence by changing the order of the two sentences. The supervisor who spoke for the welfare of his subordinates was welcomed. Here, the same thing has happened. The supervisor was welcomed. He spoke for the welfare of his subordinates. Supervisor is subject. He is subject. Who is replacing it? But we can't put who so far away. So we bring the whole clause here by saying who spoke for the welfare of his subordinates are was welcomed. That is how the sentence is. Dr. Mohit, who was reading the paper, saw an item of news that worried him. Now, Dr. Mohit was reading the paper, an item of news worried him. So he was worried by the item of news. This is what we had. Therefore, Dr. Mohit and who are together, then that worried him. That also is another relative clause which is used here. It worried him. So item of news, it side by side, and you have just removing that it, you can put that worried him, which can also be used here. Which and that are interchangeable in most places. So these are the answers. I hope you have checked. Here is a third exercise for relative pronouns. As I told you, relative pronouns, we make many mistakes. Therefore, we have three exercises for this. This is the room whom you're looking for. First sentence, the speech of the chief guest whose the audience attended was well prepared. The movement of the feet whose the dancers used seems difficult to learn. The person which spoke this language is a local man. Birds whom fly in the air are free. I want a book whom I can enjoy reading. Please call the person which is waiting in the hall. This is the champion who everyone admires. Now here you have these 8 sentences which there is some mistake in them. Please correct the sentences and then look through the answers. Here are the answers. This is the room which you are looking for, or this is the room that you are looking for. Both are right. The speech of the chief guest which the audience attended was well prepared. Here, that is also possible to use, which is a better usage. The movement of the feet which the dancers used seems difficult to learn. Now, which, also that, which is a more common usage. The person who spoke this language is a local man. Who, the person who, that is the answer. Birds that fly in the air are free. Here, that is more convenient, which can also be used, of course, but that is a better expression. I want a book which I can enjoy reading, or that I can enjoy reading. Please call the person who's waiting in the hall. This is the champion whom everyone admires. These are the answers to the previous exercise. Reciprocal pronouns are 2 in number. Each other, where there are 2 people and they reciprocate or they exchange something, then it becomes reciprocal, 2 people. Whereas if it is 3, 4, 5, more than 2, then it is one another. One another is a larger group. Each other is only 2. So you have some examples. I'm not going to great details for this because these are common and we all use them correctly. The 2 friends promise to help each other, here each other, in times of need. There are only 2 friends. Suppose there are 5 friends. So you say the 5 friends promise to help each one another, not each other. The 5 friends promise to help one another in times of need. Nothing changes except the number determines whether it is each other or one another. You can practice the exercises with each other. Suppose you have 2 friends. These 2 people are, 2 students, 2 learners. They are sitting together and learning. So you can practice the exercises with each other. The pets were playing with each other. That means there are two pets only. One pet, maybe a dog and a cat, they're playing with each other. People say that dogs and cats don't get along, but very often you find they become the best of friends. So the two pets are playing with each other. Big countries should have peace treaties with one another. Big countries, now there are many, many countries. So one another, group larger than two. After the match, all the spectators were congratulating one another. All the spectators, maybe thousands, congratulating one another. Many of my colleagues seem to be jealous of one another. This happens in offices. Somebody is getting promotion, somebody is not, somebody is fighting with somebody else. So you have many colleagues and they might not be very open to each other. So if two colleagues, each other; if more than two, then one another. That is what we call reciprocal. Two people doing something for each other, more than two people doing something for each other. The verb is important here, and we find that it does the work of, similar to the reflexive pronoun yesterday we did, in the earlier video we did. So that is what you have to be very careful about, that each other for two and one another for more than two. This is the last of our slides in today's video, and this ends the pronoun chapter also. We had 3 videos on pronouns. Now we have come to the distributive pronouns list. The distributive pronoun is sometimes similar to the indefinite pronoun, which we did in the second video on pronouns, pronoun 2, because the indefinite pronoun does not specify a particular person or a group, whereas the distributive pronoun specifies it. Sometimes they use the same word, like we had the word anyone or anybody. Now here you can also use, where anyone is specifically pointed out. Anyone who wants the prize has to work hard. So anyone who wants the prize, specific group. Then if indefinite, it becomes anyone can get a prize. Now you are not specifying, it is indefinite. So where the indication of the pronoun is a specific group, a specific number, there we call it distributive. Where it is unspecified, we call it indefinite. That is the difference. Now you have the list of pronouns on your left-hand side and the examples on the right-hand side. These are very commonly used and not many mistakes are made, so I have not given any exercises. As it is, the videos are becoming very long, but I'm not able to make the classroom short. Those of you who get impatient, please watch slide by slide. Today you watch 1 or 2 slides, tomorrow you come back there and watch the other slide, and so on. Those of you who are watching only the first slide and going away are not learning any grammar. You are just, pleasing yourself by saying, okay, now I know pronouns. But real explanation comes only further in the video. Now we have the word either or either. Depending on the stress of the sentence, we pronounce neither or neither, any, each. Each also we had in indefinite list, yes, the previous video. None or no one. Some examples are here. Either of you can attend the function. So there are, two people here. So you say either of you. Specific and therefore distributive. Either the laptop is not working or there is no electricity. Now there are two things here, laptop and electricity. So again it is distributive because it is specific. Neither answer is correct. Neither answer is correct. Now, you have answers, maybe 5 or 6 answers, or 2 or 1 answer. Then you have, when you say neither, you mean actually 2. So, 2 answers are not correct. Neither I nor my family are aware of this development. Again, you are specific. You have 2 people. I am there, my family as a group is there, and then you have the word neither. He offered some fruits, but I did not want any. Any here is specific. You refer to only the fruits. You don't refer to anything else. Whereas any, anybody, anything, these are all indefinite pronouns also. And that indefinite uh, pronoun does not have specifics like the word fruit here. I have some extra money if you want any. So any refers to money here, and therefore it is distributive. There is enough food for each one of you. Now here we have each one, where you have the word food, enough food, for you. The word is specific you, specific food, and therefore distributive. Each person has his or her own learning style. Now, looking at these 2 sentences, you will find that distributive pronouns are also distributive adjectives, because each person, each one, these are all the adjective usages. The word is a pronoun, the function is adjectival. None of the injured was seriously hurt. None again specific to injured. He came early but could find no one in the auditorium. Some specific people were supposed to be in the auditorium. No one was there. Therefore, distributive. You should be able to identify indefinite distributive when they are used and use them properly. Once you know the rules of grammar, your confidence in the language improves. Your ability to correct yourself improves. That is why we are spending a long time with grammar, but I'm not doing grammar continuously, because then all of you will run away. You won't be around. Grammar is a fairly difficult topic to teach and to learn. You have to learn it by constantly thinking of it. Now we have done pronouns. Tomorrow, when you read the newspaper or you hear the news, you watch some great speech on YouTube, some great speakers, some great leaders, they speak so beautifully. You will notice the pronouns they use. You will concentrate on the kind of pronoun which makes the sentence more impressive. It is better that way. That is why I tell you that every video which I'm putting on this channel is a video which will benefit you in all ways. Listening and speaking, reading and writing, grammar, vocabulary. Only the grammar video is not for grammar. The video of pronunciation, you can also learn grammar, because I gave you connected speech. I gave you breath group paragraph. That is for your listening, that is for your grammar. You can go and check there how many pronouns are there. Go to the listening videos of mid-level. You will find so many pronouns being used there. Go to the sentences which we had in all other exercises. In every exercise, I have been given, in every topic, I have been giving you exercises. There you will find English being used. Wherever English is used, that is for you a context for improvement. Improvement comes when you try to do it like that. Therefore, please use each video to the optimum. Soon I will make a video of how easily you can learn English step by step from the English classroom. Today somebody messaged me saying that they would like an online class. Now I cannot take an online class for thousands or lakhs of people who are there in that organization. I said, no, I cannot, but please go to the YouTube channel. Of course, those people might not have the technology, the rural students, to use the YouTube channel. So the organizers can put big TVs and use it. All of you who might want to do some social service might also like to share these ideas with the people who cannot afford them. You learn from the video and then you teach somebody. That will benefit you and benefit the other person also. All my hard work will become useful. And then get many subscribers, share the video, like the video. I find that hundreds and thousands see the video, but not many put a like. Does it mean the videos are bad? Then you have to tell me. You have to say that this video was terrible. I will try to make amends. I will try to make the videos better. But you say that they are wonderful and then you don't like the video. That is the only communication we have. I cannot see each of you face to face. Therefore, please do these things. I hope you have learnt noun and pronoun perfectly. Please wait now for a few weeks for the verbs to start. In between that, I will give you some other videos. I'm trying to give as many videos as possible, daily if possible. Sometimes if the video is not ready, it takes a couple of days. Thank you and all the best.